Hello, Internet. So yeah, Tick in here with my weekly comic rundown for what I read this week. So I picked up Age of Ultron number 7, All New X-Men 11, Iron Man number 9, Superior Spider-Man number 9, Thanos Rising number 2, Ultimate Comics X-Men 26, X-Factor 255. But I won't be talking about Ultimate Comics X-Men or Age of Ultron, since I haven't been really talking about them. So yeah, in the order, I'm going to talk about Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Thanos first, and then All New X-Men and X Factor after I read those. So I just read Iron Man, and I'm using the same format where I read something and then it's like I talk about it afterwards. I really like this arc because that has started after the God Killer. So Tony Stark's in space, and like you see him with the Star-Lord at the beginning, and it basically goes to say that like this is basically the story of what happens when Iron Man's not with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So like they're hinting that they're on the trail of some mass murder or something. So Star-Lord's talking to Tony about like the armor on, people are going to want to kill you, blah blah blah. But Iron Man's like, I got to find this AI because he killed all these people and it's my fault, so I got to bring him to justice. So he's on this planet, and there's like this cool panel where he's like walking through all these aliens, like to show him on this like this alien city, which is to me just like why I like where the story is at right now, because it's basically Iron Man in space on like a galactic scale of like him just being like an adventurer dude, like on this investigation to find this murderous AI. So I thought that's pretty cool. And then so basically he's going into this cantina to find Death's Head, or whatever that guy's name was that almost killed him in the arena. And so he's talking to him, and he's like, "Okay, so help me out and help me track down 451." And he's like, "Okay, whatever. Do you have my money?" And then Tony Stark's like, "Yeah, I do." So he's like, "Okay, here's the money." And then they go to the Voltier, and they're looking at the like vapor trail or whatever of the ships that left to try to find a 451 ship. And Death's Head's basically saying how his ship is very, like, it doesn't look very impressive, but it has like top of the line stealth and something else, sentry area, so it can like scan and be like undetected since it has like good stealth and good scanning. And so they're looking at the not the vapor trails, whatever. I'll just say vapor trails. There was something else, but whatever. Of like the area, like ships that got away after the Celestials came in and just killed all the Voldi. So they find one, they follow it out, they cloak, follow it, and they get to the ship, and then like they're about to like breach the hull, and Death's Head says, "What are the rules of engagement?" And then Tony Stark says, "What do you mean?" And then Death's Head says, "If it's a choice between his escape and his death, which way do we go?" And then Tony Stark says, "The latter," which is basically, and then like he's talking to Death's Head about it. He basically just explains it like at the end of the last issue where he said, "I'm not going to let this guy get away with this, and I'll track him down and like bring him to justice, even if it means I have to kill him." So that's basically where we're at, where he's like tracking down 451. So they get on the ship. It doesn't have any like readings of like life signs. It's also a Badoon ship. So they breach the hull, and then there's all these dead Badoons like all over the place, and all the wounds are self-inflicted. So it was like somehow 451 had gotten them all to kill themselves, which is interesting. So yeah, they're looking down the ship, and then they're like being all well, not super stealthy, but they're like not making any noises and trying to like scout the ship. And they see 451 coming down this hallway, and then Death's Head says, "He's coming this way, ambush." And so they're at this door, and Tony Stark says, "Let's get this over with." Death's Head replies, "Whatever you say, boss." And so 451's about to come through the door. He comes through the door, and then he turns and talks to Death's Head, and he's like, "Oh, there you are. Is this what we agreed on?" and then he like pays him. Meanwhile, like Tony Stark's like not moving, and then like his like speech bubble is just like a ellipsis of like dot dot dot. And then it turns out that like 451 and Tony's suit AI Pepper are basically, you know, in cahoots, because 451 basically just like walks over to him and has the Pepper take off, or not take off, but like retract Tony's helmet, which so that retracts, and then he just, or Tony basically just like curses him out for like killing all the Voldy in the last issue, and he's like, "What's up with this Death's Head? You like totally betrayed me." And he's like, "Well, he gave me a better deal." And then Tony's like, I'll pay you double." And then Death's Head's like, "A bounty hunter must have ethics, or a mech has to have ethics." He just like turns away and walks away. And so 551 basically brings Tony to this room and sits him down, and then like in the last issue, like 451 is talking about how he'd basically do everything to like get his plan to come to order, even if it was like killing like all the Voldy or whatever. Like he would sacrifice the many to save the few. It's like whatever he had to do to like get this plan that he had going and like done. It's like that's what he had to do. So basically, the last few panels are explaining or bringing that back to where he's like, okay, this is all part of my. When Tony Stark's like asking me about this, he's like, so this is all part of your ridiculous plan. And then 451 says, exactly, Mr. Stark. It's one I've been working on for some time. Sit down. So he has him sit down in this chair and like has this really old film reel that he sets up. He's like, you want to see this? So basically it starts to play, and then it's Tony Stark's dad, and he's like, son? And then there are things I haven't told you. Things... He's like, yeah, this is going to be hard. You might have a drink for here. And so he's like about to talk about like this plan, which I guess, well then like you're wondering like where this is going, and then like it shows 451 like come into screen with his dad, and that's when he says like, yeah, you maybe need a drink, and then 45 it goes back to like Tony Stark and 451 who are sitting there watching it, and he's like, and 451 says, not a ridiculous plan, Mr. Stark, just a long one. So basically this is like some crazy long, like crazy machination plot of who knows where this is going, of like whatever the plan is. We'll find out next issue, I'm guessing, of like just exactly what this plan is. So that basically is like where we leave off, with just like dun 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 to be continued, like what is this plan that Tony's dad has set up to like I don't know, this is weird, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed this issue, and like this arc is pretty cool, of like just, you know, Iron Man in space hunting down 451, but he found him. So now it's just like a matter of like, okay, what's up with this plan, and like where is this going? So I'm that's going to be enjoying to find out. But yeah, that was it for Iron Man number 9, and I'll be back after this with Superior Spider-Man number 9. Alright, Tekken here. Just read Superior Spider-Man number 9. Oh my gosh, so good. Like, I'm loving this entire series and what they're doing with Otto as Spider-Man, and just this issue here, it all comes to a head of just Peter's memory, because it's not really Peter, because last issue they actually revealed that like he did die, so this is just like a memory that has manifested itself as Peter, and it has been like kind of in Otto's head, trying to like stop him and like looking over him and being like, no, you're ruining my life, stop it. And it's just been so great so far, this ride. And so things come to a head here because last issue Otto found out that that memory was there, and he's like, Parker, you're in my mind, time to get you out. So this memory, this issue starts out, Otto's preparing for the operation, sitting in this chair with the brain scanner on, or neurolytic scanner on his head. That is like the cause of like how all this like started and ended. So he's prepping the operation. Peter tries to stop him, but his like robot helper is there to like stop him. And so he's like basically going through and like deleting memory by memory. But then like during the operation, it goes to the viewpoint of Parker's memory, and he's in like his memory, and like all these buildings are falling, and all this stuff's happening. It's pretty cool. Like this issue is just like really really good. I just love this issue because like after like like Peter's memory starts fighting back, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna let you delete me. And so Otto is still outside doing the operation. He's like, okay, it's I guess I got to go inside his mind to get a hands-on to take care of this problem. And man, what follows is just so good. Just I haven't finished reading all my comics this week, but this is like the best issue so far this week. Just man, it just killed it. So Otto goes into Peter's memory to face off against Peter's memory. And so they have this whole discussion about like what went down and like what's happened. And so like it starts off with like Otto fighting Peter, and then like Otto fighting Peter's memory, and then the memory summons like all of like Peter's memory of his friends and family, and he's like, you know, my friends and family and we can take care of you, and you're nothing when I'm with them, and like I have the strength of their like support and stuff. And so they all start like teaming up on Otto and like taking him down. Then Otto's like, "Ha! You didn't think I'd be prepared for this? I knew you were in my head, and for months I've been planning this." And this is just like what I love about Otto. He's just so like systematic and just point by point just goes down the line of like what he's doing and just like has it all planned out and just that's why I love Superior Spider-Man, is because like it's like super villain as hero, and he like goes about it as a villain. It's just so good because he's just like he has like all these schemes and plans and like henchmen. Oh, so good. But like as a hero, it's like he is Spider-Man, but he's like using all this like villainry to like augment his hero-dom. So it's like, oh, I love it. I love it so much. So basically, I love Superior Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Otto summons like all of Peter's anxieties and fears. So as he's about to like get beat down on by like the memory of his loved one, or Peter's loved ones, like around the corner manifest all of like the villains from like Peter's memory, and just all the villains basically show up and then start taking out one by one Peter's memories of his friends and family. So it's like Uncle Ben gets shot again. It's like, oh man, and just like Gwen Stacy's dad is getting taken out, and just it's so good, so good. And then as that's happening, like there's like the whole like dialogues of like narration popping up of like the memories getting erased, and like how slowly but surely Peter's memory is like forgetting more and more. And so he's like, you know, he's a friend to me. No, not him. Uncle B. I know your name. I had an uncle. What was his name? So he's just like forgetting all these things that's going on. It's like, man, it's kind of, it's so good. Okay, so this is happening, and basically the next phase of the fight starts. So as the memories of Peter are fighting, his like hopes and dreams versus his like fears and anxieties. And then Otto has this like awesome line. He says, "Peter Parker, no more," which like is like as a play on Spider-Man No More, when like he didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. Like, yeah, that's cool. And so he says that, and then like Peter says, "Then lucky for me, I'm more than just Peter Parker. I'm also," and then he rips off his face like it's a mask, and it's so good. It's like the Amazing Spider-Man, and then like Spider-Man jumps out of his skin. I thought that was just like so awesome how like he was like unmasking his face, but underneath he was Spider-Man. That was really cool. And so like Spider-Man comes at Otto, like starts to throw down on him and be like, "Oh yeah, taking him down," or I'm sorry, he doesn't say that. So he comes at Otto and he's like, you know, you had your shot, Otto. You ruined your own life. You stole mine, and you talked to me about what's fair. And then so it's like, you know, you're supposed to be about great power comes great responsibility. Like that was issue, I believe, 700 of Amazing, when he's like, I will be Superior Spider-Man. I will be like, with great power comes responsibility, after like he had all of Peter's memories at that one part. And so like, yeah. But then like, as we've seen like over the last 9 issues, or however many issues, it's just been like nowhere but down. Well, not necessarily, but just he's gone about it in like a completely different way, like I said, but like completely like villainry. So, so yeah, and then like it shows Otto jumping up a building, and then let's see. Oh yeah, Peter's memory says, "What's the matter, Otto? Thought you wanted to be a hero now. Heroes don't run away." And Otto says, "I'm not running. I'm going, or I'm biding my time, planning, scheming, taking the high ground." So it's like that's what he's like always doing as like the supervillain he is. And then so let's see. Okay, and then so yeah, then like Amazing Spider-Man and the Otto are like still fighting, and he's like, you know, you totally went back on power and responsibility. It's like, what would a real hero have done? You're trying to destroy me. A real hero would have taken the responsibility and gave me back my body and my memories. And then yeah, Amazing Spider-Man says, "I'm giving you this one chance to go out a good guy. Show me you've learned something. What would a hero do?" And then Otto says, "Give you back your life, but I see now. Have to be responsible, do the right thing. I must give this world of what it truly needs. A superior Spider-Man." And then he proceeds to rip off his face, and he's like, "Me." And then he's basically telling all the anecdotes of like what has been happening ever since Superior Spider-Man, and like how he's been a better Spider-Man than Peter, and how he is like he is at the beckoning call of the police and the mayor, and how they're like totally teaming up and stuff, and how he took down Massacre, and then like the crime rate is down in the city, and like all this other stuff. And so you have Amazing Spider-Man versus Superior Spider-Man, which is pretty awesome. Like, even though it's like a fight in the mind, I thought this was like so cool and just so well done. And so like they're like fighting and throwing down as they're talking about like, I'm the better Spider-Man. No, I'm the better Spider-Man. And so but then like how Peter hit Otto with like the whole, "You should give me back my body and be responsible," or whatever. Otto was all like, let's see, what does he say? He's like, "Why didn't you let me keep being a better Spider-Man? Why did you try to interfere?" And then Peter's memory is like, basically in the last issue when he's like scanning that kid's brain, or not scanning that kid's brain, but he was like doing an operation, like Peter's memory like kind of interrupted him like at a crucial point where he could have killed the kid. He's like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't want you to get the Neuralink scanner so you could like scan your own brain and then find me and then get rid of me." But yeah, that's what Otto says. Or Otto and Peter have that, or yeah, Otto or Superior and Amazing have that exchange, and then like as they're talking and like ending on the whole, you know, power and responsibility thing, like Superior Spider-Man's all, "You don't deserve to be Spider-Man. You understand that now? You're not worthy. You're nothing to me, less than nothing." And then outside of his mind in his body in the operation room, he's like, "Commencing mind wipe." And then you have like the last like, let's see, 8 panels. It's like Peter's memory is stuck in the mind as like the world is crashing down on him. He says, "No, I know me. I'm Spider-Man. Know who I am. I'm Peter Parker Palmer. I don't know." So it's like from the beginning when he's like been deleting all these memories all this time, it's like finally getting to like all his memories are like deleting, crashing down around him. And then like his memory just says, "My name, don't know my name. I'm," and then it just like blacks out to a black panel of just nothing. And he's gone. And then it cuts back to Otto. That's what he says. He's like, he's gone, and I am free. And that's the last panel. It's like, yeah, Superior Spider-Man here to stay. So, you know, sorry, Amazing Spider-Man fans and Peter Parker fans, but your hopes and dreams have been crushed because Peter is dead and he ain't coming back. So, sorry. Enjoy your jumping off ship, because I'll be keeping on with Superior because I'm very much enjoying this book. But yeah, this is Superior Spider-Man number 9. So good. I really enjoyed this issue. And yeah, that's it for that book. And I will be back with my thoughts on Thanos Rising number 2. Alright, I'm back. Just finished reading Thanos Rising number 2. So, the prologue in this issue basically talks about how Thanos had a fear of killing until he, like, went to that nest of the lizards and, like, killed them all. So that's what happened at the end of the second issue, and I was like, oh, that's what happened here. So, yeah, he just killed all the lizards. So, yeah, we pick up the story years later. Or I'm sorry, not years later, but, you know, still with Thanos dissecting lizards and studying and stuff. But it's like a few years later because he's like at some like exam, and then he's like talks to his professor about like, oh, I already dissected my lizard and done all this other stuff to it. And yeah, it's it's another weird issue, I must say. Like, well, I don't know what other adjective to use, but it's yeah, it's I guess it's very dark because like it's about killing, and I kind of felt uncomfortable at sometimes. I don't know. I kind of think if I should just like even keep doing reviews on this one or like keep reading it, or whatever. So he's like, yeah, I don't need to have these lectures anymore or whatever. I totally like wow, I've lost my train of thought. Dissected that lizard and stuff completely. So then he leaves the classroom or whatever lab, and then outside is that lady from the first book who was all like egging him on to like get into situations that would like get him to kill stuff. And so she's there, and he's like, let's see, he's basically saying like he's bored. He's bored with the school because he like has all the answers. He's bored with all the dissecting because he knows all the stuff about all the creatures, and so he's kind of just done with it. Let's see. And now he's basically says like, I need to learn more of the things that cannot be taught by going out and doing research. And so it shows he has like this lab with all these like animals and specimens and vials, and then it shows he has this like ape, and he's like, man, it took me so long to finally get a live specimen of this. And man, so he's basically is like driven by this like quest for knowledge, but the way he goes about it is by like killing and dissecting all these creatures. It's just like, oh, because in the next part of the story, he basically just like goes to town on this ape with a knife, and he's just like, oh, didn't find the answer, and it's just like so casually it just like, says that, and like after like he just kills and maims this ape, it's like, oh man. And so yeah, then the lady eggs him on about like, oh, well, there's other places you need to look besides just death for the answers or dissecting animals for the answers. And he's like, where? And she's like, look right in front of you. And then so it shows like two other Saturn people. I don't know what they're called. Eternals, space people, whatever. So they're like making out, and Thanos is watching them, so it's super creepy. And then it shows that he abducts them into his lab on the examination table. And yeah, he basically is about to like cut into them. And he's like, I will remember this moment forever. And it just like goes into like the classroom again. But then like the narration picks up and it says, in the centuries between the founding of the city of Eternals on Titan and the birth of the deviant-gened Thanos, there was not a single recorded instance of murder. No crimes of passion, no execution, no acts of war. Among the Eternals of Titan, who had known peace for eons, it was said there did not even exist the concept of murder until the one called Thanos invented it. And so, yeah, basically, Thanos is like the downfall of this whole society. But that was kind of like where book one like picked up, was like he came to the grave of his mom, and he's like, this is where it all started or whatever, and like just had this like flashback. So I guess we're just like fast or like leading up to that point. Man, this is down reading this. Especially, anyway, so yeah, they're at a dinner table with like Thanos' dad and his uncle, Kronos, and or actually I think, is that his dad or is that his uncle or his grandfather? I don't know. It's one of those two. His dad's dad or brother, Kronos, and his mom's there, but she's not saying anything because she was like in an asylum last issue, which was weird. And then like his dad goes over to like check on something, and then he leaves his mom and Thanos alone, and she says, "I know what you are." And then Thanos says, "No, you don't, and neither do I." But and then like also besides like the whole like just like his quest for knowledge, he's also like trying to get some sort of like sense of like who he is and like his place in the world slash galaxy slash universe by like all these experiments as well. So it's odd. Okay, and then like after the dinner scene, he's talking to the girl lady that I don't think they said her name, but he's Thanos is talking to her and he's like, okay, I killed these two people, and after this I'm done. As he's like burying the bodies, and then the next panel is like 2 weeks later, and he's still out with a shovel digging graves, and it's like, oh man. So yeah, and oh, and like they're having the discussion. Basically, he's like, "I'm not a butcher. I'm a scientist. I'm a man of science, and I have this quest for knowledge. Blah blah blah. I'm not just a butcher or a killer or whatever. I did enjoy that, so I'm going to stop." And then it's like 2 weeks later, and then he says to the lady, "You're right. I enjoyed it." And then you know, yeah. Oh, he basically is like, "Run away with me. I'm in love with you. Blah, blah, blah. I can't find these answers from killing things. Maybe I can find it in love or something." But then she just like smacks him, and she's like, "No," and like completely like rejects him, which was weird. And then it's weird because like he says, "I could make you," but and then like she says, "No, you couldn't," and like says all this other stuff. I thought he was like going to like do something after that, but he doesn't. He just takes it. So yeah, just like finishes burying all those people, and then here we are at the end, where like the last scene is he's talking about like these tools he made for this next dissection, and you see like the first panel, there's like someone on the table, but you don't see their face or like who it is, and then you know he's like, "I made all these instruments for this next dissection of you, and you know they didn't exist before until I created them. I've become quite good at using them. You know, I started off with lizards. I did it a couple of my professors and some people. I've done it to children." Just like naming off all these victims. And I was trying to like find. Yeah, he's like, "I told myself I was looking for answers to the secrets of the cosmos, to my destiny, to the mysteries of my own DNA, but I didn't find them there, and that wasn't true. I killed them because I had too much love in my heart and no place to put it, no one to give it to." He's like, yeah, it's like going like over like this whole thing about like, "I killed them because blah 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 blah." But I'm just gonna skip over that, and like basically last panel, he's like, "I'm sorry, mother, but the key to who I am is somewhere inside you, and once I found it and cut it out of you, I won't have to be a monster anymore." And it's like, dun dun dun, to be continued, as he's about to like drive the knife into his mom. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading Thanos Rising. It's just the content is like way darker than I was like expecting. So I don't know. It was just out there. But yeah, that's it for Thanos Rising, and those 3 books of Iron Man, Superior Spider-Man, and Thanos Rising. So I'll be back with the other 2 books, All New X-Men and X-Factor, after this. Okay, one more thing. Tekken here, and like I was going to edit in some screen captures, but I don't really feel like it this week, so sorry. I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, favorite, or not. And yeah, back with part 2 after this.